There is a lot of buzz surrounding the South Korean film Parasite. Previously known for The Host and Snowpiercer, director Bong Joon-ho has a knack for creating genre films and making them feel like art pieces. And with Parasite, he continues to prove his talent and status as one of the greatest living directors. The best part is, Bong's directorial style is simple, direct, and often very blunt. Basic, but highly effective. That makes his films excellent case studies for young filmmakers and film students. That's what we are going to do today. Let's look at Parasite and how director Bong Joon-ho, through his mastery on the basic language of cinema, elevates his films into art house classics. Before we start, I highly recommend you go watch this film first. It is still in cinema around the world. I'll try not to spoil any major events in the film, but it's definitely worth it to go in with no prior knowledge. Got it? First, a quick summary. Parasite is a 2019 South Korean dark comedy thriller. The film follows the exceptionally poor Kim family, and the story of them scamming their way into being hired by a rich family. It's simple, if not pulpy setup for a film about class struggle. But if you actually watch Bong's film, it feels nothing like a Pulp Fiction. In fact, it feels quite artistic. How did he do that? First, there's the cinematography, mainly the movement and the angle of the camera. The film opens with a shot of the window close to the ground, and it sinks even further down to introduce our character. Right away, you know he's from a poor family. The camera is literally showing you that this man is living lower than the low. It appears to be one of Bong's favorite techniques, and is used extensively in Snowpiercer. Although in that film it's left and right, with characters moving to the right as a sign of progress. Anyway, the film continues, and we see him trying to connect Wi-Fi from surrounding shops. Notice how the camera is situated slightly higher than the character, and pointing downward just a little. This makes the character appear smaller, and thus weaker. Basic cinematography. While basic, Bong uses these techniques with obsessive consistency. Later, when the sun is about to get hired, he walks up a hill, and in between these two shots, first looking down and then looking up, it marks the transition for the character. When he set foot in the rich household for the first time, the camera moves up and points up to the character, as if he's ascending into higher social status. The camera can just as easily film him from the front, and you get the added bonus of seeing the actor's facial performance. But Bong chose to maintain consistency and films from behind, seeing the character walking into the light. Light is another basic element of cinematography, and in Bong's films, the use of light is just as blunt and simple. Either there is light, or there isn't. Not much nuance, but the intent is always clear. See, when the son heads out to the rich family, in this shot, he's quite literally walking into the light. When he is up the hill, he also stays at the brightest part of the image. All this leads to him walking into the house. And the light is so bright, it just floods the entire frame. How you don't even see the house at first. You just see the blinding light of a bright future. By utilizing these basic but important techniques, the film tells the story and theme not just via actions and dialogues, but also visually, metaphorically. That sets this film apart from the mass-produced entertainment film. Now that we know about all three techniques, let's take a look at this sequence. It's storming outside, and the family has to run back home. What did the camera do? It, once again, sinks down to the bottom. You can see the camera either points down or remains level. Except this shot. The poor family discovered the home has been flooded by sewage. In a moment of defeat, there is clarity, for this one shot shows the character truly empowered. Finally, the family leaves their home, and the camera is shot at the highest angle possible, looking straight down, showing the character at the smallest, weakest, most insignificant. Equally important is the mise en scène. What and where things are placed in each shot. For example, in this shot, the son character meets with his friend. See how both roads on screen are going uphill and they're meeting at the low point? The motif of high versus low is maintained even when the camera is leveled and static. Consistency. It is so consistent, it's even a bit comical. In the rain sequence, every shot in the family's journey home, they never once go uphill. The road is always leading downward, as if the entire city is built vertically. Of course, that isn't the only motif in the film. Another motif is the line. This line that separates the rich from the poor manifests itself a few times on screen. When the son first sees the lady of the rich family, we have this shot. This line, created by two panels of window glasses, separates the common folks from the rich lady. The poor son and the housekeeper on one side, the lady on the other. Notice when the housekeeper wakes up the lady, how she seems very reluctant to cross this line. The line continues for the next few shots, slicing the screen in half here and here. And when they ascend the stairs, walking into the light again, by the way, the pillar splits them still. Even when they are walking together, the line on the ceiling and the floor separates them. Finally, the son manages to impress the lady, and we have this shot. The camera moves, the son crosses over. This line would reappear and disappear a few times, depending on whether or not the poor family is accepted into the rich household. And finally, at the end, when the son is having an inner struggle, split between his forged rich persona and poor identity, we have this shot. Simple, blunt, yet direct. An effective way to bring poetry into your film. But beyond all these fancy schmancy poetries and metaphors, there is one even more basic approach to make your film artistic. Just make it look good. Spend the effort, be creative. How do you film a dialogue scene? Do you just do the boring over the shoulder back and forth? You can definitely do that. Bong does it too. But he also puts his characters side by side. Do the characters have a connection? Cut between them if they don't. Show them in one frame if they do. Use perspective to your advantage. Putting your characters at the vanishing point is always a strong composition. Create depth through layering. Foreground, midground, background. Even in the smallest space, depth is always an option. Be dynamic. Go wide with your wides. Get close with your close-ups. Hell, go wide with your close-ups. At least you are doing something different. Film it straight on, film it from the side, film it from the top. Go slow motion. Whatever you do, don't settle with the standard formula. Is Bong and his cinematographer geniuses for coming up all these beautiful shots? Maybe, maybe not. Because gifted or not, you are going to have to spend a lot of time designing and perfecting every shot. In short, there is no easy way to elevate your film into art house status. The real question is, do you have the patience to do it? Hopefully, now you enjoy the film even more. Without going into spoilers, it's hard to do a story analysis. Maybe one day I'll come back to this film. But for now, I'll say this. This is not Bong's first time tackling the theme of class struggles. But compared to the relatively black and white Snowpiercer, or straight up painting the government as evil, Parasite is certainly much more nuanced in tackling the subject, showing much more on how and why people commit acts of evil.
오늘 하늘 완전 파랗고 미세먼지 제로잖아. 어제 비 왕창 온 덕분에.
And lets you decide who's the villain of the story. Yes, the blunt and direct writer-director is learning how to be nuanced. If one of our top living directors are still learning, my fellow filmmakers and film students, we should probably pick up the slack too. Let's all make good movies.